Hi there folks, my name's Novawing24 and welcome to another little product review for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And today we are having a look at the first release from the team over at Pyramid8 Studios with their recent release of YRAY Sydney Seaplanes. Now, before we get started, I'm going to say a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the team over at Pyramid8 and the team over at Orbx for providing me with the review copy of this scenery today. And I am not going to lie, I saw this come out and I was absolutely blown away. Like, I love small little detailed strips, like we've seen from Backward Studios and we've seen from the team over at Parallel 42 over recent years, that these kind of small airports are really, for me, I think more important than the bigger name airports that we see from a lot of other developers. And I think that the quality of life that we get from these is pretty awesome. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Anyway, so we are going to be having a look at this add-on today. We're going to be going through, we're going to be checking out the main part of the scenery here, and then we're going to have a look at the extended part of the scenery as well, because you get a couple of little extra bonuses with this as well. And as I said, this is Sydney Seaplanes, also previously known as Rose Bay Terminal, and it still technically is. The actual main terminal is still called Rose Bay Terminal. And for those aviation history buffs out there, you may already know, and if you're not, then you should be aware that this was actually sort of the first Sydney airport, because this was where, in the golden age of flying boats, sort of the lead up and immediately before and immediately after World War II, that this is where many international flights to and from Australia would actually originate and depart from, because a lot of international travel was handled back in those days with flying boats. So this was the original area for the terminal for Empire Airways, which was the forerunner to Qantas. And sort of British Overseas Airways, which actual British Empire Airways, which when they were flying boats, this would be where they would dock. During the Second World War, it was also a major float plane, or sort of a float plane, seaplane terminal for various military types. But it was primarily there as a civilian terminal, and it is continued on with that tradition, albeit much smaller now, under the care of Sydney Seaplanes, who offer scenic tours of the sort of New South Wales, or the Sydney, Greater Sydney and New South Wales region, but also provides some interesting sort of day trips to various hidden locations throughout the New South Wales sort of centre coast. Now, the team over at Pyramid8 have done a really great job of actually providing some amazing detail with the scenery. Now, on first pass, you'd sort of say, oh, well, it's a seaplane terminal, so there can't be a lot of detail you can really add into it. And to be fair, the actual dock for where you dock your seaplanes and your amphibians, you're probably right. There's not a lot to it. At the same time, there is we've got Bob here, who is making sure that all the ropes are appropriately coiled and stacked away. But yeah, you've got the dock there ready for you to spawn in, and it does offer cold and dark spawn locations, so you can actually spawn your seaplane in ready, so you can start it up and have it docked there. By the way, Microsoft, hey, we would really like the ability to have like a keybind by default to allow us to lock the position that when we're moored, but anyway, moving on. So you do have that, but it's more than just that. You've also got the actual main terminal here with the bar, so you can actually enjoy your pre-flight beverage, or if you want to enjoy a sunset beverage after you get back from your exhausting day taking in the sights of New South Wales and Australia, you can enjoy that. But as well as in doing the actual terminal here for Sydney Seaplanes, they've also got the Catalina restaurant next door, which is a 5-star restaurant that is quite famous in Sydney. That I sadly never got to eat at when I was in Sydney, but I've heard many good things about it, as well as detailing much more in the local area. They've updated the actual boats that appear in the Rose Bay Harbour. They've also modelled and done some detail on Shark Island just over there, which we'll have a look at when we go on our aerial tour of the region, as well as updating the rest of the marina in Rose Bay. Now, this scenery, although it is completely designed to be standalone, and I can't forget, of course, that the Sydney Harbour ferry terminal here at Rose Bay has been done into pretty good detail as well, and complete with some custom animations, and we've got people waiting for the bus and various other ferries here. Now, this, as I said, this is, as I was starting to say, this is designed to work with the Sydney cityscape that is available from Orbx. But it does work perfectly fine as a standalone scenery. But if you do have the Sydney cityscape, then it does blend seamlessly in with the Sydney cityscape add-ons as well. Now, as I was saying, it models not just the terminal, but also the rest of the marina here in Rose Bay, including an updated marina building over there, as well as modeling the park here at Rose Bay and various other details, including the yacht club or the boat club on the other side. And we've got we've got a little coffee shop that's modelled here. We're going to quickly zip over our drone cam to have a look. So we've got a little coffee shop here. Is it Jeeves? Yeah, Jesvi Coffee. I'm assuming that's correct. I don't know. I don't remember that particular coffee shop myself from when I was here. But yeah, we've got the nearby park modelled, and we've got the nearby boat club. So probably the only sort of bit of a glitch is I'm not sure that there seems to be a bit of a conflict between some of the photo reel and the scenery there, but that's a little bit of a negativity, but not much. But otherwise, good detail on all the buildings, obviously taken from photo reel and but then customized and cleaned up and put into the sim. The detail along the waterfront with all the boat docks and all the gantryways, and complete with animated people actually using the park and the pathways along the park is kind of cool. Complete with a little runner here as well. And this is something that I know I pointed out in my recent Backward Studios release of their air park, was that I really like seeing those little details, because that really does bring even more life to it. Like, you've got static people that we see on the regular in airport sceneries, particularly when we see a lot of airport, internals of airport terminal buildings and the like modeled. But having animated people, so people at the bar here actually chatting and, sharing a drink and sharing for time with their friends is a pretty cool thing. Like, I do like to see it. The other thing is that it is, at least for me, it was no impact on frame rates, and it has some pretty good detail inside, but definitely not the. I don't see any 4K coffee cups, that's for sure. I also note that whoever's the developer of this, they've themed this for the time of State of Origin, and if you don't know what that is, then you need to look up your Australian history. It's basically one of the few times that Australia pretty much stops. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, we've got the Empire Lounge modelled in some pretty cool detail. You've got the Catalina restaurant done as well, and all the other scenery. So it's a pretty basic scenery, but there's so much life in the scenery, which is something that I think is a really good, is really, really good to see and really great to see. All right, well, let's now jump into our Icon A5. We're going to jump into our amphibian, and we're going to go for a flight. We're going to check out Shark Island, which has also been modelled, and then we'll also go and check out another little semi-secret location that the team modelled as part of this scenery. Alright, so we're in the Icon A5 today, and I picked that because I love this aeroplane. I've got a huge love of the Icon A5 going back for many, many years. In fact, going back to when I first started doing some content creation for the world of flight simulation. So it is, I always love taking this aircraft out for a spin, and it's something that I don't get to do anywhere near as much as I would like to. All right, let's get the aircraft powered up. There we go. Actually, no, I want my map view, because I've got a decent enough view outside here. So we've got a bit of a flight plan set up. All right, so we've got our battery master is on. Fuel is open. Go. Right, and gear up for water landing. Yeah. Anybody else who flies the certain other amphibian would know that very well. Okay. Power on. Okay. Water rudder extended. Okay. Leaping away from the dock there. As I said, it is nice that the team did put the water, like the actual dock spawn points in there as well. I think that is something that is, it's absolutely essential, and kind of disappointing that the few default water runways that the team over at Asobo and Microsoft have included with this didn't include. And it looks like we have somebody who spawned in with a Hughes. That's, to be fair, that kind of sized amphibian would be what you would see here back in Rose Bay's heyday. All right, let's stay out of his way while we start our takeoff roll. Step. Nice, smooth takeoff there. Got trims. I love the icon because it is just such a smooth aircraft to fly. Like, it always feels to me whenever I'm flying this, like it feels like I'm flying a sports car. It is absolutely fantastic. I have loved this aircraft ever since I first got to fly it virtually back in 2012. And not gonna lie, it has always been a secret, semi-secret dream of mine that I've always wanted to own one of these aircraft. So as we circle over Rose Bay here, we can sort of get a bit of an aerial view here. And essentially, pretty much all of the Rose Bay here. So this initial marina down here, I believe, is part of Orbx Sydney Cityscape, but this secondary, actually no, sorry, all of the marina here is part of the Sydney Seaplanes scenery. So you do get that nice enhancement there. Some of those unique sort of individual boats over there are custom and do have some custom night lighting effects, which are pretty damn cool as well. We're going to fly over here and have a look at the terminal. So we get a nice aerial view of the terminal here. The scenery does blend pretty seamlessly into, as I said, it blends seamlessly into both the Orbx Cityscape and the Microsoft Australia update. So it is highly recommended that you do have the Australia update at least installed, even if you don't have the Orbx Cityscape, the Orbx Sydney Cityscape. And the Orbx Sydney Cityscape is one of those cityscapes that I know when I reviewed it, I did give it it was, and I still have the same feelings about it. It's a mostly positive review. I still think that is a great add-on, but it definitely is something if it's a city that is nostalgic or somewhere that you want to visit. Now this over here is Shark Island. So Shark Island has been given a makeover as part of this Sydney Seaplanes Sydney Seaplanes release. And they've given it a custom modelling here of all the rocky shorelines there, as well as the boats and the jetty harbour. So this is a popular place for people to visit, to get, have a bit of a picnic, have a bit of a getaway from the hustle and bustle of the main parts of Sydney, which is somewhere nice and close by to have a bit of a relax, a bit of a commune with nature for a few minutes. You can catch a boat out there. It probably wouldn't not be cost effective to get a seaplane out here, but if you do want to land a seaplane, there is a dock there for you to dock into. Alright, so let's have a look here. And look, this makes a great place for you to sort of use as a bit of a stepping off point to do some exploring around Australia and Sydney. Alright, from here, let's head out of Sydney Harbour now, and we're going to head north a little bit, and we're going to go check out one of the. It's a bit of a nice bonus location that is included with this scenery. Alright, as we are now flying down Cohen Waters as a offshoot of the Hawkesbury River, we're approaching the little bit of a bonus scenery that you get here as part of the Sydney Seaplanes scenery, that being the Cottage Point Inn. So the Cottage Point Inn is a fascinating little restaurant perched in the middle of a national park that is only open a couple of days a week and is basically only available. It's only accessible by boat or by seaplane. So if you're looking for somewhere exclusive to go ferry your virtual wealthy guests, that is the restaurant that you'll be looking at bringing them to. So it's kind of cool how they've actually developed and included some of the various homes that are in this part of the area, as well as including this as a bit of a destination. Now, this is one of a couple of destinations that Sydney Seaplanes do offer their guests. So if you are, so if you do ever have the money and you do ever have the time and the money, and you're in the land down under, you can actually use Sydney Seaplanes to actually come and experience this as a day trip. They offer overnight stays as well, so it's a beautiful place to sort of come and get away from the world. So it's nice how they've sort of grown this and actually sort of produced this area and given you an opportunity to come and visit here, albeit virtually, because the price tag is, if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it. So what we'll do is we'll come down and we'll land up here at the restaurant, and we'll see if there are any special wealthy guests that might be in the area. And it always makes for some fun and interesting flying and operations in these river valleys, which is something else that I like about this scenery add-on, is that it gives you more than just one place to go. And I always love scenery add-ons that, or aircraft add-ons or anything that gives you more than just the bare minimum. Alright, so let's kick this into a tight turn. Testing the anti-spin characteristics of this aircraft. And I am way too high for this setup. Yep. Oh, maybe I can recover this. Okay, cleaned up. I'm going to be going a little bit far here. Little on the fast side, but just by force of habit I touched the brakes and it's like, that's not really going to help me here. Okay, we'll slow down. Deploy our water rudder. So I'm going to leave those extended actually to help slow us down a little bit on the water here. Surface controls, go. See if we can bring it into the dock. It's one of the reasons why I love using the Return to Misty Moorings scenery up in PNW and Alaska. Like, I love finding all these small little out-of-the-way sort of outposts and places that you can visit, because it always feels like the world is so much more alive, and I love seeing this kind of content get added to our sim, because it really does help bring more life to it. There is more than just ferrying passengers from point A to point B via greyhounds of the skies or trying to blow stuff up. Like, there is so much more to aviation, and I feel that amphibians especially, and remote bush strips and and bush water runways like this really help bring that concept to life. Now, one of the things that, of course, is a challenge with seaplanes and amphibians here in Microsoft Flight Simulator is slowing down, because you can't sort of just reach out and put the oar out. So we'll do a bit of judicious use of the throttle here. See if we can dock up here at the Cottage Inn. Get my flaps to help slow me down a little bit. Don't think it's really going to work, but I can try. Fortunately, I have a keyboard shortcut for this. Alright, we're just going to pretend that we had a wall or something there. There we go. Okay, alright, let's shut our aircraft down and let's go and have a check out of the Cottage Inn restaurant. Here we are at the Cottage Point Inn restaurant. So as I said, it's like a little bit of a bonus location that's included here. It's not, I mean, it's on one level, it's not much, but I do love the fact that it is even included and the fact that it's there, and it does appear as a POI as well. So if you're wondering where it might be, you don't have to resort to Google and matching scenery maps or anything like that to figure out where it is. It is located as a POI in the in-sim menu, so you can find it both from your flight planning area, but also from the in-sim navigation as well. So it's small, it's not it's not much, but it's done pretty well, and it's done in the same good quality that we saw the original, the main airport get modeled in, and it's just nice to give you somewhere else to go and fly. Now, it's funny because the team over at Sydney Seaplanes, this is one of a few, I think 3 locations where they offer sort of like day trips to. And another one is actually on the Hawkesbury River, and I was kind of the Berowar. And I was kind of Berowar Inn, I think, Berowar restaurant, I think it is. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe we'll see from the team at Pyramid, maybe we'll see them add that in as well at a future date. They haven't said anything. I would really like to see them to add into that, because I think that would be another great way to really add a bit more to this experience, as well as maybe some of the other day trip options that the team over at Sydney Seaplanes offer. So yeah, that's our little extra lunch stop so we can have. So we're going to go and enjoy our lunch, then we'll head back to Sydney Seaplanes at Rose Bay, and let's give our final thoughts on this scenery piece. Alright, as we're coming back in here over Sydney Harbour, coming in for our landing here at Rose Bay. Interestingly enough, Rose Bay is one of only 5 licensed and chartered water aerodromes in Australia. 2 of which are in New South Wales, one actually just a little bit further north of Sydney here, also operated for tourism flights. Another 2 are up in Queensland, up in the Whitsundays, and the last being over in Western Australia. So I kind of hope that the team over Pyramid 8 actually do use this as a starting point and actually produce the rest of the rest of the water runways that are in Australia, because I mean it's a low cost scenery and it has such powerful impacts, and they really do for flyers like myself who enjoy doing low, slow, and GA and sort of odd job kind of flights. They're really cool. Like they make a great option available for you to go and explore and take these fascinating aircraft out for a bit of a spin. So let's do our approach here. I've got my approach is a bit more stable this time. At least I hope it will be. All right, let's do our turn here. So it's a pretty much a north-south water runway here, with the end of it being just by the jetty. The buildings here, get a nice nice overfly of the terminal as we approach. That yacht seems to be right in my way, so we're going to go a little to the left of that. We'll split the difference between that and the island. Hopefully he'll stay out of my way as I'm coming in for a landing. And you just really imagine, like, it's a huge thing to imagine, this, the great, flying boats of their era coming in for landing here, with the short Sandringhams, the short C-class, Empire-class flying boats. Like, that would have been absolutely fascinating. Maybe we'll see those in our sim one day. Oh, that was not quite as smooth a landing as I would have liked. But this will give us a chance to do a bit of a circuit of Shark Island here. Extend the water rudder out. You can see where the scenery comes in with a bit of a step up there of the water mask. But it gives us a chance to actually do a bit of a taxi around the island here. And you see the extra rock detail that they've actually put in here to blend it in with the scenery. So a little bit of the usual Microsoft Flight Simulator water masking challenges, but still, like, they do a nice job, and it's, again, giving that bit more life to Sydney Harbour. And so even if you don't have the Sydney City Pack, then you will still get plenty out of this airport as a great little destination for you to come by and visit and go exploring the great land down under. Plus, it gives you an excuse to fly a amphibian and a seaplane, which I feel that as a community, always need more excuses to be able to go and fly these incredible aircraft. I do like how they've just, it's as I said, it's a nice little extra they've added in, so it's more, not just about just the base, the core terminal building. It's adding in those little extra destinations, adding in, the Cottage Inn, adding in Shark Island. So it's nice to see the development team actually expanding. Again, it's more than just what it says on the tin. Like, it gives you an experience, and it gives you something to go and explore and find out more, and you can discover things on the way. And there are plenty of POIs that come as part of the Australia pack, as well as the Orbx pack, that are nearby that you can go and visit. And this is a great place of operations, a base of operations to start with if you're looking at doing that kind of exploration. Because a seaplane is a great way to be able to do it, to be able to go off and adventure into the wild blue yonder, but still stay low and slow and give you far more flexibility of options. And plus, canyon flying and river valley flying is always fun. All right, let's taxi back down the water runway here and dock up back at Rose Bay at Sydney Seaplanes, and let's give our final thoughts on this scenery pack. So, final thoughts on Sydney Seaplanes from Pyramid8 Simulations. Look, this is a fantastic scenery. Like, straight out, it really, really is. It is a small, lightweight experience is how I would put this. The team have gone to some great effort detailing what is a bit of a Sydney icon, and a bit of and very much a historical sort of part of aviation in Australia that is oft forgotten about, to be honest. And it's recreated such a cool little slice of Sydney life and Australian aviation history, and given it to us in a way that is accessible, that is detailed, and really does just bring to life the fascinating world of amphibious aviation. I think this is a great addition to the sim, and a great first release from, at least as far as I know, a first release from the team over Pyramid8. So I think the team have definitely set a pretty good benchmark for starting off. The use of plenty of animated figures in here, plenty of attention to detail outside of the core, like, terminal. Like, yeah, if it was just the terminal, then I'd be going, yeah, okay, that could just be freeware, but it is more than that. The team have gone to some great detail outside the area, detailing the park behind the terminal, detailing the restaurant next door, the ferry terminal, just fit further up, adding to us the Cottage Inn, destination restaurant to fly to, which is part of Sydney Seaplanes operations. I think the team have done a great job. They've integrated it very seamlessly into the Orbx Sydney Cityscape, which, to be honest, and probably if you have already bought this, you probably already had the Sydney Cityscape. but making sure that it still works without it, even if you don't have it. They've brought everything to life. They've done some great detail, and it is a very lightweight scenery, very affordable scenery. It comes in at less than $10 is 10 US dollars is what this comes in at. So very affordable, and for me fits into the same kind of idea that Backward Studios does and that Parallel 42 is doing a lot of with their scenery. It's about giving you an experience, about giving you a jumping off point to go and discover something new and different. And as I sort of said in the start of this video, any opportunity that we have to fly amphibians and seaplanes is something that I am going to absolutely support, because those aircraft absolutely need more love. So yeah, I think this is a great add-on and definitely worth your time if you're wanting to fly somewhere new and different, and especially if you are into and enjoy flying seaplanes or the challenge of them. I know I definitely do. So as I said, great add-on, especially for the price. I'm looking forward to what Pyramid Studios produce in the future. Probably the only negatives that I've found with it is that I think there was one bit of photo reel over by the boat club, which is on the periphery of the scenery here in Rose Bay, that probably needs a bit of cleaning up. And it was and this is a complete, not an issue, but the promo videos feature the de Havilland Beaver, which is part of the 40th anniversary update for the sim, in Sydney Seaplanes colours. So I was 100% expecting that livery was going to be included with this package here, given the fact that it's Sydney Seaplanes is the scenery. I did expect that. That is actually a free livery that is available over on flysim.to for PC users, which is great, but it leaves our Xbox family members out of the loop. So the only thing I would probably say is, hey, Pyramid, go talk to the developer of that scenery and license it. License it and include it in your package. That is something that I really think would be... That's honestly one of the only negatives I've really got about this scenery, and it's not even a real negative. It's just a side note. I think that would be a great marketing and promo thing for you to be able to include their livery in it. I think that would be great, because Sydney Seaplanes operate a fleet of they've got 4 Beavers, I believe, and a Cessna 208 on floats, which, by the way, hey Asobo, can we have a 208 on floats please for 2024? That'd be swell. Or at least a 208 without the cargo pod. I know, yes, I know there's a freeware mod out there for PC users that converts that, but hey, again, I like to be inclusive when it comes to our flight simulator family, including our Xbox family. So yeah, that would be cool. Beyond that, but to the good points, as I said, the texturing is really good, the modeling is great, they've got all the details here, they've focused on the externals as much as the internals, and I think they do a great deal. It's about bringing the scenery to life, doing the little different things that you see during night and day effects. It really does give you some immersion in the scenery, and I think the team have done an absolutely great job, so props to them. So for me, highly recommended. Alright, so as we round out this review, I do want to say once again a huge thank you to the team over at Pyramid8 Studios and over at Orbx for supplying the review copy of this scenery. This is available now from Orbx Direct for less than $10 US, available now. Alright folks, and with that does round out this review. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget as always to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by following me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Twitch. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.